Torah portion is chapter 12, verse 1, the very beginning of Leviticus chapter 12 through the end of 13. Actually, what's that? 2 chapters, chapter 12, chapter 13. We talked about in our midweek Torah portion. I have to remind everyone that we have our midweek Torah study. Look at the first half of the weekly Torah portion. And so when we did that, we talked about the word Tazria, which is to have conceived seed. We talked about what one is to do when a child was born, whether it be a male child or a female child, which of course is what to do when seed has been conceived. That word Tazria, its root is to bear seed, but the word there Tazria is the imperfect third person feminine singular version, which gives us not the idea of bearing seed or spreading seed, but actually the manifestation of the seed. And so it's interesting when we look at the following chapter, chapter 13, where it begins to talk about leprosy, but the Torah portion, of course, as we said, is about the manifestation of seed. And so it's interesting when we think about the idea of leprosy, where we determined that leprosy was in fact a plague. So we could say that leprosy is also the manifestation of a particular seed. So let's look at, let's go to Leviticus chapter 13, and let's read 29 through 27. Leviticus 13, 29, all the way down to 37.
Leviticus 13:29. And when a man or a woman has an infection on the head or in the beard, then the priest shall look at the infection and see. If it appears deeper than the skin, if there is a thin yellow hair in it, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is an eruption, a leprosy of the head or beard. But when the priest looks at the infection of the eruption and sees that it does not appear deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut up the one with the infection of the eruption 7 days. And on the 7th day, the priest shall look at the infection and see if the eruption has not spread and there is no yellow hair in it, and the eruption does not appear deeper than the skin, then he shall shave himself, but the eruption does not shave. And the priest shall shut up the one with the eruption another 7 days. And on the 7th day, the priest shall look at the eruption and see if the eruption has not spread over the skin and does not appear deeper than the skin. Then the priest shall pronounce him clean, and he shall wash his garments, and he shall be clean. But if the eruption spreads further over the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall look at him and see if the eruption has spread over the skin. The priest need not seek for yellow hair. He is unclean. But if the eruption appears to have stayed and there is a black hair grown up in it, the eruption has healed. He is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean.
Okay, very good. So it's interesting when we look here at this whole situation here, we see the priest has to inspect the individual. He has to inspect this person and look to see if this leprosy, this plague, this foul seed has in fact continued to grow, or if it died. And so here in this section it's talking about the plague that is, because other parts it talks about the plague being all over the person's body. And so in this situation it's talking about if it's in the head or if it's in the beard. And so you were supposed to shave all your hair off except for the part where the leprosy was at, so that the priest don't gotta sit up there and comb through your situation. And you have to get all up inside of your fro to find out what was up in there. You were supposed to cut all your hair off except for where that is, so that he was able to see whether the thing had spread or if it didn't. And so it's interesting when we think about this idea, because if we go back kind of the process kind of building up to, when we look at this idea of set apartness, right? This idea of holiness, what it is, what it looks like. And so in order to maintain that, as a people is concerned, so it was necessary for Israel to make sure that people, not that you remain pure, because life actually did happen, right? And so in the event that you became impure, in the event that you became contaminated, or when you became contaminated, we see the procedures upon which one would take to alleviate that situation. And so it's interesting that when we talk about this idea of leprosy now, again, this thing was called a plague. And one thing that we determined was the fact that a plague is something that comes from the Most High. And so the person was doing something that caused them to have a plague put on them. However, the thing that they was doing didn't cause them to want to cease to be part of the people. They did some kind of thing, some kind of sin, disobedience, something. But not to the point where they was done being an Israelite, because they had to submit themselves to the process. They probably first was like, wait a second, I got this thing on me. Let me hide it. Let me cover it up. Right? That's not what happened. They actually go to the priest like, Aaron, what is this? What is this thing here? Oh man, that's leprosy. He got to get out of here. And so the guy, he literally has to submit himself to this process and say, first he's going to the priest, but then he's saying, okay, all right, I'll go ahead and isolate myself here for these 7 days, and then we'll come back and see. And so he goes through the process. And so it's necessary to have, the priest has to look then for a change in a situation, right? He has to inspect the situation to see if, in fact, it's getting better, or if it's staying the same, or if it's getting worse, right? He wants to look at the change over time. And so when we think about this in terms of the people, you know, we think about it in terms of what it is, it's leprosy here, but, you know, at its core, it's, you know, maintaining a particular level of holiness within the people. And then relying on others to see that lack of being able to meet that particular standard, and then going along with the process and saying, okay, I'm going to do the things that's necessary in order for to be put back in right standing. And so it's interesting when you think about you know, what is said to actually be the cause of leprosy, which is the Lashan Hara, right? The evil tongue. And if we notice, when people in the scripture are afflicted with leprosy, the thing that happened before that is they evil tongued somebody. There's examples of that we see. So if we wanted to find out, let's just go over Leviticus 19 and 16. It's coming up in the next couple portions, but it's relevant to the evil tongue. Leviticus 19, read for us verse 16.
It says, do not go slandering among your people. Do not stand against the blood of your neighbor. I am God.
Okay, very good. So when you're going around tale bearing, when you're going around slandering your people, you're evil tonguing, right? And so from traditional standpoint, when someone was in fact leprous, the thing that they were supposed to do, if they was in close proximity to someone, they were supposed to pronounce themselves as being unclean. You know, if I'm the unclean person and I see people coming, I would be like, unclean, unclean, about myself, right? But it's interesting when you think about the evil tongue, the idea of being a talebearer, a slanderer of someone. You know, you as an individual have a propensity to go around and talk about people, right? Tell people's business, talk about other people's business that don't got nothing to do with you, whether it be right or wrong, by the way. It don't make it right because it's something that's true that you're talking about somebody else's business. It don't make it right that it even involves you and somebody else. If I got a situation and it's my situation, but I'm talking to you about our situation, and I'm shedding negative light on somebody else, even though it got something to do with me, that other part don't got nothing to do with you. Right? So that make it be slander. And so instead of going about speaking negatively about someone else, what I end up doing then is just speaking negatively, although it be truth, about my own self and saying, unclean, unclean, right? And so I'm forced then to look at my own self and talk about my own self because of this penalty, this judgment that that's been put on me. And as we look and see with the leprosy person, he's isolated. He's not the thing he loved to do, go around talking with everybody else about everybody's business. He's no longer able to do because he's isolated by himself. He got to go off and be in solitude for at least a week until some change happens, right? And so, he has to be able to isolate and reflect and give time for the Most High to heal him. Because again, we look at what the priest does. The priest isn't giving the person, he's not giving them no ointment. He's not telling them to drink this tincture. He's not giving him no prescription for no herbs. He's just saying, go over there, be by yourself, see what happens, come back, and we'll see what happens. And if he goes away and there's no change, if it gets worse, then he got to go back some more, spend some more time. But again, it's interesting that when we see at the end of all of this, when you have the final cleansing that happens, and then you go and then you bring that offering, you reconcile back to the Most High, at the end of all of this. And so it's interesting that when we look at this leprosy thing, this thing that is the seed that is conceived and the manifestation of it, not just dealing with because a seed can be like a bad seed, right? It don't got to be a good seed. It could be like some sticker ball bush seeds, right? It could be some weed seeds. I mean, weeds, like things that are bad for other things, like invasive things, right? And so when you think about this leprosy, it's the manifestation of a bad seed. Something happened with this person, and then the manifestation of that invokes a plague upon the person. And then so from a national standpoint, it's necessary to kind of address this thing, take the necessary steps to recover from this thing so that an individual is able to be introduced back into the fold. And so just from a principle standpoint, I think it's interesting for us to be able to look at these things and see how the Most High makes these separations and creates all of these boundaries for his people, with the intention on maintaining holiness and set apartness, and understanding that this is, it should be, it has to be the standard for us as his people to, continue in this idea of maintaining holiness, and in the event that there is this defilement, whatever that may be, to then make the necessary steps to get back in line with the Most High and his standards. Okay, does anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments? Go ahead.
Yeah, in our society today, it don't even have to be in person talking. It's like Facebook and sharing posts. And, I don't know. It's probably, Facebook is old now. but whatever the new way people are spreading and making things viral, you know, the need, I guess, to, people put their own business out there in the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
I'm not sure if you can evil tongue yourself.
And
Probably.
People say stuff that they need to keep to themselves.
Yeah.
But then the things they should have kept to themselves, then that gets shared and spread.
Yeah.
But it's hard. I think it's harder. I mean, it seems like it's harder now because of social media, to even keep someone isolated. Everything is so connected.
Yeah, and this is the very idea of this thing is just to have one's business be in the street.
I think Facebook used to be like a diary type of thing. You would like talk about your
Used to
life.
be. It kind of is that, ain't it? I mean, it might be a false diary. You know, I put myself in my best light for everyone to see, which oftentimes is a lie. You know, you get all fixed up. You get all fixed up for,
You don't have to
you
do
know,
that. You
to-
got filters. So you don't have to get yourself all fixed up.
yeah.
But,
But what happens is I just seen just the other day where, you know, there's this news that happens in the world about people, and you have people then now essentially evil tonguing other people that don't got nothing to do with them. But it's the nature of Facebook. You notice that something happens with these groups of people, and something happens that don't got nothing to do with you, but now you have an opinion on this thing, and now you talk about that thing that got to do with those people.
Right.
And by you spreading that thing, for somebody could look at this thing that you're spreading and say, I and believe whatever you say about the thing, and you're third party, and don't got nothing to do with the thing. And I'm saying just the very nature of, you know, this social media turns into that, is that where you're propagating this thing that happened, may have happened or didn't happen, but you're not even connected to it, but you're a propagator of it. And then now you've essentially tailbeared on the people that's involved in that situation that don't got nothing to do with you. Whether it's true or if it isn't true. So we look at these people's controversy that they got going on, and then we talk about their controversy and be like, that's why I don't mess with these people anyway, because I knew that they was doing this or that.
Meanwhile, you don't know that.
And yeah, you don't know. And so, but that's the nature of this social media thing, where it leads us to doing something that the scriptures say for us not to be doing. And then when people did it, bad stuff happened to them. They got plagues from the Most High. And so the Most High, I don't know, he might not be plaguing you with leprosy in these days and times, but he's plaguing you in other ways though. He's causing things to happen to you that you don't like or want. And we don't think about exactly all the time the why of it. Why is this thing happening to me? Why is this thing happening to me? I thought I was doing all the things that I was supposed to be doing. Meanwhile, you out here spreading these gossips about people that don't got nothing to do with you. You out here slandering people in the body, which is a clear command that, you know, the Most High has said for us not to be doing. Good.
Was leprosy just for the people of Israel, the children of Israel? Is that just designated for them based on what's going on with y'all?
Well, I think that this type, what we come to know of as leprosy seems like it's something different than this here.
Yeah.
Like when people got arms and stuff falling off and all of that, the thing that we see and know as leprosy, I don't think is the biblical leprosy. Not to say that other people didn't have this, but I'm saying like if you was to Google right now leprosy, what you see, what Google show you is not this. It's gonna show you somebody with a deformed limb that like has atrophied and fell off. It's gonna look bad. And I don't think that's what this is, but I wouldn't say that people outside of Israel then receive leprosy. No, I wouldn't say that. But what I am saying is that people inside of Israel did in fact receive leprosy, and it was called a plague. And so when we think about things as, you know, in that category of plague, then it's something that the Most High is doing in terms of judgment on you. But I wouldn't say that only Israel got this. I don't know that that's something that I would say.
This leprosy, would it last a long time or short time, like weeks or days or years or what?
Well, yeah, so what they would do was that, you know, you would be seen in weekly increments. And so it could be that you came and you had this thing that looked like it could be leprosy. The priest looked at it. First thing you're going to do is say, go away for a week and come back so I can look at it. And then once that week is over, he'll look at it and see if it got worse or if it stayed the same. If it stayed the same, maybe he'll send you away another week just to make sure. But once it's been sure that it's not progressing and getting worse, then, you know, you was good. So it could be, it could be short, it could be long. I feel like it's an issue if it don't never go away, right? You know, you're never, because again, when we think about it from the idea of what it is a plague, then you're never being healed, right? There's always something in you that's causing for the Most High to not take the thing away. And then again, when you think about what that means is that person is never able to come into the camp. He's never able to bring his offering to the altar, right? He's never able to do all of the things that involve fellowship in the nations. And so, you know, it forces you away from the Almighty, this plague did. So that you can come back. And so it's always about these increments of, is it getting worse? Is it getting better? And so when we think about it in terms of how we, in these days and times, should deal as communities with things that don't belong, yes, there at times has to be periods of separation with the idea that go over there, stop spreading these poisons, and then come back. But if you keep on spreading the poisons, then I guess you can't. I guess you can't come back. Okay, go ahead.
So, speaking in those terms, could we consider like a sinful culture being a plague? Sin.
I think so. Like what we just talked about. Like it's a common thing for you to look and see what's going on, which it's an interesting thing to talk about. But it don't got nothing to do with you, and for you to propagate it it hurts the people that actually does have something to do with it. And this is kind of popular culture. And so the popular culture that we live in, you know, just at its base level is contrary to the Most High. And when we participate in it, it causes us to do things that's contrary to the Most High. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. And, you know, we can look at it like a plague. It's a plague.
So we understand that the leprosy came from Lashan, or the evil time speaking evil against each other, or should I say from speaking evil of someone. But I guess we can only have a guess or a observation as to what would cause like some people that have it like just for 1 week, another person to have it more than 1 week, or you know, certain weeks or whatever. I wonder if it was the nature of, you know, the genre, or, you know, what, I guess we would not know, right?
I mean, when you think about it, like think about Yeshua said, out of the abundance of one's heart does one speak, right? And so when you think about somebody, you know, maybe I just kind of just, you know, I didn't really care about this thing. It was just, I kind of just lightly said something that was out of pocket. So maybe my punishment wasn't that long. But maybe I really meant the thing, right? And so maybe my punishment is longer. Maybe when I went away, maybe I'm just going through the process and I'm not really trying to be healed. And so it's going to take longer until I get to the place where I am. And so I think it seems that it really deals with, you know, how the separation is affecting you. If it's not affecting you, it seems like it's going to take longer, right? If it is affecting you, you're trying to do what you got to do, and then internally, I'm saying, because if we're saying that this thing is the result of you, you know, slandering other people, you know, that's something that's inside of you that caused you to do it in the first place. And so that's the thing that needs to be changed, the thing on the inside. What's coming out is just a manifestation of the thing that's on the inside. And so we're talking about the manifestation of the seed being conceived, right? The propagation, the manifestation, the conceived seed is, you know, that thing that was planted and grew and sprouted and produced, right? And so when we think about again that Lashan Hara, that evil tongue, you know, something's wrong with me in the first place to feel the need to sit up here and be talking bad about somebody. It's not even just the fact that I'm doing it, but what is it inside of me that takes me to the place where I can't feel good about my own self unless I'm talking bad about somebody else.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. Well, not even interesting. What diseases today kind of line up with you got a boil or something and yellow hair or white hairs coming out, then you recover from it. It's like, you know, with stuff where you would like get a, what they call it, something's infected with pus or something. Yeah, I'm like trying to think like what today kind of
when
would.
you think about those things, stress can cause reactions in your body and in
Yeah.
your skin. Stress.
Right. Yeah.
And so that is kind of like things that's going on like inside of you, in your mind. Like stress, it seems like it would begin in your mind, stress,
Yeah.
and then manifest in your body. And so that's your body then having reactions to chemicals being released from your brain and coming out from your skin. Because like your skin is an organ, and like impurities are released out through your skin. And so if you think about it from that standpoint, when you have these chemicals that's being released from various thoughts and things that's going on in your mind, I mean, it's just so bad here that it's like, you know what I mean?
So that go to prove that a lot of your health is connected to your mind.
Yeah.
What you do, your mindset, all that.
Yes, everything's connected. And we can't sit up here and act like, you know, one system is separate from another. Like it's all your body, and it's all affects other parts. And so when we think about that again from a national standpoint, you know, the same thing is true. You know, we as the body of Messiah, you know, have the same situation. We can't have parts, incongruent parts in the body that's, you know, that's, and think that those things aren't going to negatively affect the body as a whole. All right. So many things can be said about this particular Torah portion. We can reference the link in the description and look at what has been previously spoken about, just like all the rest of the chapters of the Torah. All right.
And we had a very interesting Torah class, so.
I know. Yeah. If you ain't coming to the Torah class on Wednesdays, if you're not, you know, jumping online, you missing out.
That was good.
But it's documented, so you can go back. Okay.